So, hello once again. I don't know whether you might listen to the intro after you possibly find this video talk. And this is the thing that really started set me thinking because of what I've seen on the news over the last, I don't know, few months. Basically, ever since Chat GPT came out, everybody's been jumping up and down about AI. And it set me thinking. And I'd always wondered this about AI and robotics, but I'd always imagined that this was quite a way down the path. I thought it might not be a problem. Other things might get solved before this, and so therefore it wouldn't necessarily be a problem. But it's now apparent that the AI progress is a lot faster than perhaps anticipated. Things are a lot closer than perhaps a lot of people thought was going to happen. And as you can see from the title of the video, I called it AI Robots v Capitalism. And the reason I put it that way is because we now have to seriously consider the consequences of AI and robotics. Everybody's going on about, obviously, the Terminator scenario, AI turning on us and attacking us. But that's not actually the real problem. For that to happen, you have to have a fairly highly intellectual AI to do that, that then becomes superior to humans. Okay? But long before that, you're going to have a real problem at a more social level, or as I say, the capitalism level. Let's look at a scenario that I've figured out that kind of simplifies it. And I know it's simplifying capitalism, but it is fundamentally how capitalism works. And the whole world works on capitalism. There's no country here that's not running a capitalist system. If you look around the world, they all work in the same way. They all work with trading and markets and fiat currencies. So let's look at a very, very simple thought experiment scenario. Very simple. We have factory A that manufactures batteries. It has a workforce manufacturing batteries. You then have factory B with a workforce manufacturing chocolate bars. Factory A sells its batteries to the workforce of factory B, and factory B's workforce sells the chocolate bars they make to the workforce of factory A. They both bounce backwards and forwards. Okay, that's a binary system, but that's stripping it down to its simplicity. And then the boss of factory A suddenly decides, I'm going to replace all of my workforce with AI robotics. Sack everybody and replace them with robots. Yeah, because the job they're doing making batteries is pretty damn simple, so I can replace them with robots to do it instead. Okay, so I don't need a workforce, just my factory and the power, and boof, and out come batteries. And the factory owner thinks that's a great idea, brilliant idea. There'll be no consequences to that. It won't rebound on me, surely not. But it will, because the people who are buying the chocolate bars, the people who are buying the chocolate bars were his workforce. So the factory B that was making the chocolate bars has now got no customer base. They're gone because robots don't need chocolate bars. Okay, so factory B now finds it's got no sales. So factory B goes B for bust, goes broke, bankrupt, insolvent, chapter 11. Goodbye. So all of those workers lose their job. So there's no workers at factory B to buy batteries from factory A. And then factory A goes out of business as well. And it's worse than that. Both factory A and B were paying tax. And the workers in factory A and B were also paying tax and VAT. So the tax take goes down. Now this is in a very simplistic way, but that's exactly how the world works. Money bounces from company to company to company in the private sector, generating taxation because people end up with disposable income, which they then spend into the economy, which then creates more taxation, and also some of their income is also taken out automatically in taxation, and that runs the governments and the society that everybody lives in. If you put in AI robotics, you've got no workers, no taxation, and no consumerism. You kill capitalism. Okay? So how the hell are we supposed to work going forward as a society? Because the tax take's going to go down, the consumerism's going to go down, and so how does the world work? You drift away from capitalism. That's in its simplistic terms. There's no way of getting around this. This is going to happen at some point down the line. And it looks like it's a lot closer than we thought, because it's quite feasible that we'll develop AI robotics at a reasonable level with, say, an IQ of about 80 or 90. Not smart enough to fight us or take over the world or anything like that, but smart enough to replace not key jobs, but basic jobs. Train drivers, taxi drivers, shop assistants, road cleaners, bin people, basic maintenance jobs, construction, all of these manual jobs that, even plumbing, electricians, carpenters, general maintenance, right? All of these jobs will be under threat from a basic AI robot. And once someone cracks that, you've really got a problem, because whole swathes of jobs will disappear very, very rapidly. So I want someone to explain to me how that's going to get fixed, because I can't see a solution at the moment. And if I can figure this out, and I'm not Mr. Einstein, I'm not Mr. Genius here, then the politicians must know it as well. The economists must know it as well. The powers that be, the civil servants, the people running governments, must also know this is coming down the path. Okay? It could be as close as 30 years away. And so therefore, if that's the case, right, why aren't we talking about this? It's not on the main media. If you watch any TV programs, they always talk about AI fighting each other, or weapon systems getting out of control, or stuff like that, all lifted from science fiction films like Terminator or RoboCop or whatever. It's not about that. It's the social impact that AI has. AI robotics. AI on its own is not the real problem. It's when you combine the two together, when you produce a robot that's got the intellect, I've read about IQ of 80, that can go around society doing things that currently humans do. Basic stuff, stacking shelves, driving cars, driving trains, driving buses, flying aircraft even. You're going to cause a massive disruption in the social fabric of capitalism, and the world is capitalist. Even China trades with people. Even China has a basic capitalist economy, right? It may not have a political system like more democratic, but you can have capitalism without democracy, because it's just about trade, it's about commerce, it's just about people, consumerism. That's what it's about. So you can have that without democracy. The problem then is, how do you carry on running that for everybody else. Now, if you're rich, it's not a problem. In fact, if it's rich, it's worse, because rich people aren't going to have to worry about this. If you're rich, you've got your own army of AI robots. Okay? If you're a rich person, you want someone to maintain your gardens, someone to drive you around, someone to clean your house, someone to cook your meals. We can do all that with AI robots. So therefore, you don't need the workforce anymore. And you can have AI security guards. We're not talking about here super intelligent robots. What we're talking about is the basic level robots. ATIQ, as I said. So I'd like to have someone explain to me, someone who's expert in economics, someone expert in social interactions and so forth, the society we live in. How is this going to work exactly? Because it looks a bit, well, concerning. And it could be round the corner. It could be we start getting this impact in the next 20 to 30 years. We're already seeing prototype androids out there, or robots out there. Okay, we're already seeing them. You see expo shows all the time of the latest robotic developments, and they're looking pretty useful. Boston Dynamics is one example of a company that's right up there. And it's just a matter now of building the AI systems to plug into those robots. And once you do that, you really are going to have like a nuclear bomb go off in capitalism. Isn't going to work. That's my thoughts on the subject. I'd like to hear people how they think it's going to work. I want to hear someone expert come out and say, oh no, don't worry about it. We've got a fix for that. It's not going to cause a problem in society. It's not going to cause a problem globally. Because as far as I can see, it is. And I can't see a way around it. Unless capitalism just dies. And you end up with a new system. Where people don't work. And basically, it's glorified socialism. Because the state ends up providing everything. Because you could end up with no money. Theoretically. Because what's the point of money? You're not going to be buying things. Because robots are just going to be making everything. It could fundamentally change, actually, the way things are made. Because, again, at the moment, one of the reasons why things are made in China is labour costs, i.e. workforce costs. Yeah? It's not the raw materials or anything like that. It's the labour costs to actually get the raw materials and then convert them into something you can use. But if you've got an AI robot that works just as well in China as it works in the UK or United States or EU, then your labour costs are the same wherever you are on the planet. What's the point of making that product in China? There isn't any point to making that product in China. There's no cost saving. You may as well mine the resources locally as possible and make it here. You know, why make it abroad? Yeah. The reason why all of US manufacturing outsourced to China is because China labour costs were lower and they don't have the same regulations in China as America has. But if you can replace the workforce with robots, the labour costs go away, and so you may as well start making your product in the US rather than China. It's another disruption that you could see. Yeah. So if a car manufacturer is completely automated, has no human workforce at all hardly, just a few key engineers, a workforce of 10, but is able to manufacture cars just as fast as cheap labour workers in China, then in fact faster, because even the workers in China have to sleep, you know. So you have to have a huge number of workers who can run the plant 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And energy is a lot cheaper than food. So you've got to feed those workforce. They've got to have healthcare and so forth. Robots don't need any of that. And so therefore, you know, labour costs then become flatlined across the globe. So there's no point in making things abroad. You might as well make the same thing where you can. The only thing that different countries would have would be commodities. Some countries have oil, some countries have coal, some countries have gas. That's if you're using fossil fuels, of course. So, as I said, I don't see how this works going forward. And we're very close to this. So that's my thoughts on AI robotics versus capitalism. And I think capitalism bites the bullet. Anyway, that's my thoughts. You can tell me what you think. If you think there's a solution, great, because you'd like to put my mind at ease, because I can't think of one. Okay,